this is John Bohlinger with Premier Guitar. Today we're taking a look at the brand new Vintera series by Fender. This is the Vintera II. Today we're looking at their lovely new Jazzmaster, the 50s Jazzmaster, the 60s Strat, and the 70s Jaguar. Before I tell you about all these cool guitars, take a second to subscribe below. Thank you very much. Here's how I'm recording it. I got a couple pedals on the floor and I'm running into a 72 Super I have, Fender Super Reverb with a 15-inch Weber speaker in it. Micing it with a Sennheiser E906, running into a Apollo 8 and into Logic. So that's the signal chain, that's how we're recording it. Now let's get into these guitars. So Fender's Vintera Series 2 is a loving homage to some of these great guitars from their past. So we're going to start in chronological order with this 50s era Jazzmaster. Alder body, a 50s C-shaped neck, which is thin and feels really comfortable. 7.25 radius, which I know a lot of people or modern players are more accustomed to a flatter radius. I tell you though, this thing feels great and works really well, doesn't get in my way of bends or anything like that. I like the way they did it. It has these great Jazzmaster single coil pickups that nothing sounds quite like it. And of course, the pickguard like they did it back in the 50s just is so, not only is it aesthetically very pleasing, but you can't beat the shielding. So here we are. True single coil pickups, and you really can't hear much in the way of a 60 cycle hum. Let me just kind of go through these a little bit. So the controls, which might seem a little mysterious, are really pretty straight ahead. This switch right here, when you're in the down position, essentially you're using just this traditional volume and tone. But when you're with your three-way switch, but up here, still have the three-way switch, but this is volume and this is tone. And the tone is a little different. So like here we are in the neck. This to me seems more like kind of a jazzy, rhythmy sound. Kind of. Now, not uncommon for people to bypass this and just go with the more traditional approach, which is an option you can do, but I dig it. I think it's cool to have there. But it's fairly self-explanatory and intuitive. And I guess one of the appeals is you're not accidentally turning up and down. You can kind of set it and forget it, which it might be kind of the application for it. So that covers that, but now I'm going to go back to where I'm a little more comfortable with this switch. And you can hear that tone is different. To me, you get a little more, and it might be, maybe it's a psychosomatic thing, but I feel like there's a little more presence when you're on the traditional setup. So that's that. Let's look at this neck a little bit. Just so dreamy, right? And actually, you know, they're going for that jazz tone, and I don't know. I think it's got a. I think it has. It totally does that. You know, it's totally got that whole thing. great, right? Bridge, totally got that Fender kind of twang thing. In between. And surprisingly, I guess, you've got that sweet sound, but if you put a little dirt on it, okay, very cool start, but let's go up to the 60s and see what that Strat has to say. They went with an alder body. This is a light alder body, which I really like. Traditional single coil pickups, staggered like you'd find in the 60s. A 60s style Fender neck, which is C-shaped and thin and comfortable. 7.25 radius, much like the other. I think it feels really good. Vintage tuners, which work great, where you just poke that string right down the center. It's a great design, kind of a built-in lock. They did, although it is a loving homage to the 60s, they made some practical improvements that Fender came up with over time. Like a huge one is the 5-way switch. If players start with Strats, you could just get this, this, or this. And then they found out, well, if you just kind of barely put it in between, you can get both pickups, and that was the sweet spot. But it took Fender a while to kind of jump on board. There were aftermarket ways of getting that until they followed suit. But I love the fact they put a 5-way switch. The other update that I really love is the tone control on an old Strat does not affect the bridge, which seems crazy to me because that's the one place you really need to roll off the tone every now and then. And with this one, you can. So I love that. Whammy bar, classic, you know, they went with their classic 60s whammy bar that works great. When these things are set up right, and this one came just out of the box, set up, feeling really good. And it is as Stratty as it gets. So that's the basic appointments. Now let's do the sound, the Strat test. To me, the most quintessential Strat tone are these two right here. And that gives you that. Or these two right here. The neck totally got that thing. Bridge has got that twang all of its own. right? All that stuff. The middle tone, to me, is like that whole kind of sweet Bonnie Raitt thing. And clean, it's equally charming. So, great Strat. Now let's step up to the 70s. Okay, welcome to the 70s, where I really love that they leaned into this aesthetic. I love that binding there. Maple neck, maple fingerboard, both this big block inlay, black block inlay, and the black binding up there with the dots. You can see it here on the Fender F on those tuners, which is just so cool. Alder body, a 70s C-shaped neck, which is, again, thin and comfortable, 7.25 radius. Let's see, these are 70s style Jaguar true vintage pickups, and they sound great. Again, this floating bridge, which there's not anything quite like it. Controls, much like the Jazzmaster. Up here are your little bit more mellow, that kind of thing. Down here, you got the traditional, little more spank to it. I like that. Little more presence and spank. The other kind of mystery is right here. So instead of a toggle, you have an on-off for your neck. It's a cool little built-in kill switch. Right here is the on-off for your bridge. And then right here, this engages a capacitor that is a mid-tone cut switch, or what they sometimes call the strangle switch. So here we are, both pickups on, and here's with the mid-tone cut. Let's try a little bit of dirt. So what I dig about this, it's just more ways to sculpt your tone. And it might be the kind of thing that you rarely engage, but when you do and you find that tone, you just kind of smile inside. It's great to have that option. So let's kind of hear what this thing does. Let's hear these pickups a little bit more. Here is the neck. I like the way, I don't know if it's a combination of this maple fingerboard with these single-coil pickups, but I think it's just really dreamy. Let's go to the bridge a little bit. Or what they call the lead. Just a great single coil Fender tone. Not quite a Strat, not quite a Tele, its own thing. Put them on both together. So there you have it, the brand new Fender Vintera II Jaguar, Stratocaster, and Jazzmaster. Loving homage to a classic part of their history and at an affordable price. The Jazz comes in at $1,250, the Strat is $1,150, and the Jag is $1,500. Hecho in Mexico and really well made. To read the full written review, go to premierguitar.com. While you're online, make sure you subscribe to our social media crap, Facebook, X, TikTok, all that stuff. Our YouTube channel, that's where all the really good stuff is. And subscribe to the magazine. Why not? I know I do. It's Sean Bohlinger. Till next time.